Hello, Emmanuel.
Olivia,
Why isn't my camera showing?
oh, really? Mine is oh, but you it should.
I don't see myself.
Oh, check again if your video is on.
Video is on.
Have you joined as a panelist?
Yes, I have. Warren has upgraded me. Hello,
Okay.
Warren.
Hi, Warren.
Good morning, doctor.
Warren, can you see me? I don't see myself.
See you.
No.
Warren, can you also upgrade Jackie?
Okay, please.
Eh, Jackie Kaija to panelist.
Okay, I'm going to try and sign in again.
Okay.
All right. Emma, how do I?
Jackie.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Diana.
I'm trying to set my background, but I think I've failed to do so.
Could we upgrade all the panelists? I think some are missing. We could
Oh, yeah.
also consider upgrading all the executive members, because they will need to support.
I think then the names have to be given to Warren, otherwise he doesn't know the entire executive. Unless there's a
Emma,
co-host from one of us.
Emma, you're a co-host. So is Diana. Oh,
Oh,
they have
really?
also made me co-host. Let me co-opt everyone. It's okay.
I think so. Then do
Warren,
that.
can you please upgrade Sheila?
He needs to accept I've upgraded her.
Okay, thank you. Maybe she will accept soon. I don't know. Let me let her know.
My video is finally working. Thank you. Okay.
Hi, Diana. Thank you. Been upgraded. Let me see if I can change my background.
Well, I see we already have 192 participants. Thank you, everyone.
The numbers are rising quite fast.
Thank you,
We don't need
everyone.
to overdelay.
Yeah, we need to keep them engaged. Yeah.
Hi, Happy Independence Day. The excitement about the webinar is so much that my tongue is tripping over Happy Independence Day. But to everyone who's logging on, to everyone who's joining us, thank you so much for making the time. I hope you are decked out in your finest black, yellow, red colors. I just wanted to let our panelists know that everyone can hear you. So do not give out any tips as yet. So we'll just give it a few more minutes to wait for just some more people. The number is rising quickly, almost like we're betting. We're now at 207. So perhaps we start in 3 minutes. So 3 minutes, and then we are good to go. Diana, over to you.
Thank you so much, Olivia. Happy Independence Day, everyone. And good morning, everyone. Are we still waiting in for a few people, or we are good to go?
At this point, we have 210 people revving to go, so let's go.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Independence Day. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are thrilled to have you here. Welcome to the Chevening family. Speaking, Diana Nakawesa, a proud member of the 2017-2018 Chevening cohort. I started at Ulster University in Northern Ireland, where I earned my LLM in gender conflict and human rights. It's always a pleasure for us to assist, and that's exactly why we are here today. Joining us online, we have the executive, where we have our chairperson around with us. We have other members of the executive, the scholarship program officer from the British Council, Madam Tina Wamala, and the Chevening alumni from various cohorts. The whole team is here to share their experiences, making your application journey smoother and more successful. Exciting time ahead. We'll be covering details about the Chevening Scholarship, tips on how to craft a winning application, and much more. So please stay tuned. Just be attentive, and all will be on your table. So as we begin, we shall take note of a few guidelines. But before that, I would like to inform you that this meeting will approximately take 2 hours. So I hope you'll be okay with that. And I would like to ask someone from the panelists or anyone to offer us a word of prayer before we set off. Any volunteer, please? Any volunteer for a word of prayer?
Loving Father, we thank you so much for the gift.
Jackie, we can barely hear you.
I thought it was just me.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can now.
Okay, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for today. We thank you for this webinar. We commit it into your hands. We pray for a fruitful discussion and that above all your name shall be glorified. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you very much, Jackie, for the word of prayer. Yeah, I'm going to request Nicholas to give us a background about the Chevening and why we're here today. Over to you, Nicholas.
Thank you, Diana, and thank you everyone for joining into the meeting from wherever you're joining in. To all of us Ugandans, happy Independence Day. I have an interesting background though, that I have some books at the background, but nevertheless, it's great to have everybody on board and to discuss with the prospecting applicants and those that are still attending for the first time, probably to make up their mind so that we can apply. Briefly about the Chevening Scholarship. The Chevening Scholarship, before I go there, maybe let me introduce myself more than Diana did. I'm Nicholas Okot. I'm a Chevener for 2006-7. I went to the University of Leeds, where I studied Masters in Economics and Finance. In the Association for the Alumni, I serve as the Vice Chairperson, and I'm happy that we are here today and to welcome many more interested members. Now, back to the background, the association, the Chevening Scholarship is the British flagship scholarship that is intended to support students who would like to study their master's program in a UK university in any field of their choice. The scholarship is now 40 years old, having started in 1983 and has been running ever since that time. In Uganda, we have more than 300 beneficiaries, and about 250 of them are known to us that have benefited from the scholarship over the years. The opportunities have increased from the years that we went to the current years. There are now much more opportunities, and that's one of the reasons why we are organizing this webinar. The advance in telecommunication and IT has allowed us to communicate much better, and therefore we can arrange and communicate together. Your application processes are now online, and it will be great for us to guide you today in this session to show you how and why some of the questions are put forward. The purpose of that is to ensure that you have very clean applications and very competitive applications so that we can have as many people as possible go through the first round and then subsequently go through the other rounds. I'm well aware, having studied my undergrad in Uganda, that is not a common practice for our universities to teach how to apply for jobs and how to do career-wise programs. So this is a great opportunity for all of us to learn how to complete this application process and how to respond to interviews that may be handled with some of the panelists a little bit later on, so that you are well prepared for this Chevening Scholarship interview, as well as any other interview that you might do going forward. I want to welcome you once again to this webinar, and I want to encourage you to take notes. And where you have questions beyond the webinar, we'll provide for you a link, and we have our media pages that you can also reach out to us to, so that we can support you as Ugandan in this process. I thank you and wish all of us the best. Thank you, Diane, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Nicholas, for that beautiful background. So as we begin, please take note of the following guidelines to ensure a smooth webinar experience. The session will be moderated by Madam Olivia Nalwama with presentations from 7 panelists. Each panelist has a specific time to speak, and they will be introduced shortly. Please make sure your microphone is working properly. It's important to know how to mute and unmute yourself as needed. The golden rule is to keep your microphone muted unless you are speaking. Turn it on only when you have been given the opportunity to speak or if you need to contribute. When you turn on your microphone, allow for a second or two before starting to speak, as there can be a slight delay due to internet traffic. Also, please be mindful of pauses when engaging with others. If you have a pressing point, use the raise hand feature. Alternatively, if enabled, You can type your questions or comments in the chat window. Please respect the moderators and panelists as they manage the flow of discussion. As mentioned before, this webinar will run for approximately 2.5 hours. I will now go through the program. Yeah, at the moment we are into the introductory segment, which will have to be wrapped up in the next 10 minutes. Then we have the basic segment where we shall talk about the Chevening Scholarship. Some panelists will be sharing their experiences, their journey, the eligibility criteria, and about what was the best part of being Cheveners, and how has the Chevening Scholarship impacted their lives. And then we shall have master class segment where we shall talk about the essay writing, which I'm pretty sure everyone is excited about. And then the interview tips segment where we shall talk about what it needs to have a successful interview, the insights. Yep, and then we shall have the Q&A session, and then we shall have the conclusion. So, that was just a walkthrough of how our program will be like. And if there's nothing else to add, I'll hand over to our moderator, Miss Olivia Nalwama. Olivia, you're welcome to take it from here.
Thank you so much, Diana. And once again, welcome to everyone who has logged in. We're so glad that you could join us on this happy Independence Day. We have an exciting, an exciting webinar planned for you. And it's also exciting for us to see your interest in applying for this Chevening Scholarship. And of course, we want you to do well, and we're here to support you as alumni to share bits and pieces of our experience in the hope that it will help you in your application be more competitive. So we have put together a diverse panel. We have people who, through the Chevening Award, went back for their master's degree in 2004, and then we have people who are as fresh as 2021, and we're looking forward to hearing from all of them. We got some feedback about this panel, and I'm going to ask some of the older members in terms of not age, but they go way back in when they went for their studies, courtesy of Chevening. We got some feedback with someone wondering, why would we have people who undertook the Chevening Award in 2004 speaking and advising applicants in 2024? Like, what could a fossil, as we are now calling them, from 2004 have to teach someone who's applying for the Chevening Award in 2024? I will ask Dr. Mugunga Emmanuel to quickly unmute, turn on his video, as he studied courtesy of the Chevening Award in 2004-2005. I will put him on the spot right now and ask him, what does he have to offer to someone who's applying today that is going to be useful? Thank you, Emmanuel. You are most welcome.
Thank you very much, Olivia, and thank you everyone who is on call right now. I am in, as far as today's panel, one of the senior fossils available. And I am both fossil in terms of when I went to the University of Birmingham for Master of Science in Governance and Management in 2004-05 academic year. One thing which is true is that Chevening has not changed. It remains the same. The only difference is that those of today are writing their essays online, and for us at the time, we had paper forms, analog. So we had to write those words and count them. But I can assure you, the 4 areas remain the same. as they are going to be discussed today. And over time, we have been able to see that the things have remained the same. Only technology has changed, and a number of us have adopted. Olivia, I didn't want to go beyond this. I thought this should be enough. The rest we shall handle when we get to the next one, unless there is a specific question you want me to address. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. So please, to everyone who's tuned in, and if you're applying, have no fear. We ensure that all our panelists bring bits and pieces of their wisdom and experience to enrich your application if that's the stage you're at now. So right now we'll go into their profiles just to get to know who we have with us today. We'll start with myself. My name is Olivia Nalubama. I undertook my master's degree at the University of Bradford in African Peace and Conflict Studies, courtesy of the Chevening Award, and this was in 2008, 2009. It's a joke that does not get old that I had to go all the way to a small city in the UK to learn a bit more about Africa or be more exposed to African political history, but that's where we are. Learning doesn't end. And then you just heard from Dr. Mugunga Emmanuel Freddy. He is currently the Undersecretary in Ministry of Water and Environment, Undersecretary for Finance and Administration. Emmanuel has a long and stellar career in public administration. So if you're out there working for government of Uganda, yes, the Chevening Award is available to you too. Emmanuel, as you've heard, goes way back with Chevening. He undertook his master's in governance and development management at the University of Birmingham in 2004-2005. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. We'll look forward to hearing more from you. And then we have Benon Herbert Oluka. Benon is a journalist. He is the Africa editor currently for the Global Investigative Journalism Network, and also a mentor for the African Union Media Fellowship for the 2023 to 2024 cohort. Benon has a passion for mentoring and developing the talent of others, and this led him to start Menterprise Africa. It is a fantastic place where you can find news, information, knowledge, and opportunities for innovation and tech-driven entrepreneurship. And also scholarship tips. He just put up an article about tips for the Chevening scholarship application. So please be sure to look him up on social media. Benon studied at the University of Leeds. He has a master's in international communication, and this was 2017 to 2018, courtesy of the Chevening Award. Then you'll also hear from Jacqueline Kaija. Jacqueline Kaija studied at the University of Bradford. She has a Master's of Science in Economics and Finance for Development. This was in 2015 to 2016 at the University of Bradford. So she is a fellow Bradford mate of mine. Jackie has served on our previous executive as a treasurer. She is a very trustworthy money bags. She is a fellow of the Association of Chartered and Certified Accountants, and currently she works as a senior financial analyst with the Clinton Health Access Initiative. So far, you can hear that the Chevening Award is a variety of fields, from journalism to public administration to politics. So there is no limit on the opportunities you could take up to study. It's upon you as an applicant to make your case for the field that you want to study. And then we have Dr. Diana Stella Nasike. She is one of the newer alumni members from 2020 to 2021. She studied at the London School of Economics and Political Science. She has a Master's of Science in Global Health Policy. She is currently a health security policy advisor at Uganda's National Public Health Emergency Operations Center. Let's just go through that again, because on this Independence Day, where we're celebrating 62 years, to hear that we have one of our very own at Uganda's National Public Health Emergency Operations Center is just heartwarming. She's also a technical advisor to the Ministry of Health's Directorate of Public Health, Her work involves enhancing national public emergency preparedness and response efforts. She has a wealth of experience in national health security. You are most welcome, Dr. Nasike. We look forward to hearing more of the amazing work you're doing regarding biosecurity capacities in Africa. And then we have Kasozi Andrew, who studied at the University of Glasgow, courtesy of Chevening in 2021 to 2022. Oh, he's one of our newest alumni that we have on the panel today. He has a master's in public health. Kasozi Andrew is a medical doctor by profession. He graduated from Makerere University. He currently works in Bara as a research associate, thank you very much, with MSF Epicenter. Dr. Andrew Kasozi, you are most welcome. And then we have Mr. Ibrahim Bossa, who through the Chevening Scholarship studied at the University of Westminster in 2020 to 2021. In addition to that, through Chevening, he also was awarded a Media Freedom Fellowship in 2022. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for Ibrahim on how to bag a scholarship and also a fellowship. In short, the opportunities are boundless. Ibrahim is currently the head of public and international relations at the Uganda Communications Commission. He also has a stellar career in public relations and communication. In fact, in 2017, the Uganda Communications Commission honored him with the prestigious title of Man of the Year. Man of the Year, you are most welcome. We look forward to hearing from you. And lastly, we have Dr. Sheila Nina Balinda. Dr. Sheila Nina Balinda studied at the University of Nottingham, where she acquired a Master's of Science degree in Applied Molecular Microbiology. This was in 2004 to 2005. Again, I hope you're hearing how vast the field of study is, from international communication to public health, and now we're talking about molecular microbiology. So in short, the alumni is such a rich and diverse membership. So if you're out there and you think the field of study you are thinking about doesn't cut it, no, it does. It's boundless. So back to Dr. Sheila Nina Balinda. She is also an assistant professor and principal research scientist at the Uganda Virus Research Institute. In 2001, she completed her degree in biochemistry at Makerere University. And later she was awarded the Chevening Scholarship, as you've heard, in applied molecular microbiology. And additionally, she keeps growing in ranks. And words that try to trip my tongue. In 2011, Sheila attained a doctorate in molecular virology from Makerere University. Sheila, you rock. And soon after, she joined the research team at Joint Clinical Research Center. So her experience is such a blessing to this country, because she's dabbling across various fields to do with COVID, with HIV, with viruses that we hear about on the news. Dr. Sheila and everyone else, you are most welcome. We look forward to hearing your rich wisdom and experience. So, and I hope that everyone is raving to go and excited to hear this. We will get right into it to talk about what is the Chevening Scholarship. And this question goes to Oluka Benon.
Okay, thank you, Olivia. And welcome everyone. Good to have you on this webinar. The Chevening Scholarship, before I even go to what it's about, for me has been a door opener. It has allowed me to access workplaces which I wouldn't otherwise have been able to get if I didn't have the masters that I was able to get through the Chevening Scholarship. So when you think of the Chevening Scholarship, just know that if you get the opportunity, once you're done with the studies, it's going to take you to a whole new world. And I think that's the plan of the scholarship, in training people who get it to be able to take advantage of various opportunities, not just within your home country, but also around the world. So just think of it that way. That will open doors for you. Now, what is this scholarship? I'll take you through some aspects of it. Just give me a minute. So this scholarship, Nicholas has already talked about the background, the fact that it was established in 1983. For the UK government, it was about building a lasting relationship and between the UK and future global leaders. And because of that, as you can hear, they are looking for people with the potential to lead in their various fields. So if you're looking to be a leader in your field, this is definitely, you're in the right place in seeking this fellowship, this scholarship. So the scholarship allows you as a recipient to pursue a one-year master's degree at any university in the UK. It offers you not only financial support, but also a unique opportunity to experience British culture and develop some international connections. As you know, the UK is a hub for so many things happening around the world. So being there for a year helps you to build connections that will be useful for you in your profession and in your life for years to come. Each year, the scholarship, the Chevening Scholarship selects scholars based on their leadership potential, their academic achievements, and their commitment to driving positive change in their home. So, trying to prepare your application, try to emphasize your leadership. Try to emphasize your leadership abilities and potential, and how you're committed to driving positive change in your home country. That is, if you have some things that you have been working on already. So if you have some work that you've been working, whether you've been doing that, whether it is official, whether it is volunteering, you need to point it all out and show how that work, one, shows your leadership abilities and potential, and two, how it shows your commitment to drive positive change in the space that you occupy. So the scholarship covers tuition fees for your studies. They give you a stipend or a living expenses allowance every month. Towards the end of the month, on the dot, specific days, you'll be getting a living allowance. So you will not have to worry about how you're going to survive in the UK. That is taken care of. They take care of travel to and from the UK, travel to the UK from Uganda or any other country, that is for those who are not Ugandan, and then travel back when you're done. And then they offer you a settling in allowance for buying warm clothing and shoes and other items that you need. You'll have an allowance. That allowance will also allow you to buy, for instance, books. If you need to buy books for your studies, which of course you'll need at a certain point. But beyond the financial support, Chevening also allows you to interact with a lot of what British culture is about. There'll be programs arranged for you to travel, to meet other Cheveners in different parts of the country. You'll have a chance to volunteer, do some voluntary work either with the other Cheveners or something that you have that is tailored for you in your area of interest. So you will not just study, you will have a chance to interact with the British society, pick some skills in in terms of the social life that they live, some experiences that you'll fall back on when you get back home. Who is eligible? There are a number of factors that are considered: your professional background, your leadership qualities, the plans for using the UK education to benefit you and your people when you come back home. So you must meet some academic requirements. There is an English language test that you'll have to do to be able to certify that, to show that you'll be able to use the language to do your course well, but also to communicate. There are certain things about British culture that you'll need to know. Of course, we studied English. We use English on a day-to-day basis, but there are certain little intricate things about British culture that are unique to them. So they'll just give you a quick test to see things like using their trains and all that, using their buses, which are numbered. So you'll just have to know sort of those little basics, because you're going to be largely, surviving out there on your own. Of course, you'll have a mentor from Chevening who will be checking on you every now and then to see that all is going well. But on a day-to-day basis, really, you're on your own. So you just need to be up to speed with some of these basics. Then you shouldn't only look at the financial rewards of this scholarship. It helps you in your personal and professional growth. You'll be on your own, testing yourself in a different environment. You'll build a network of change makers who shares common visions. You'll be chatting with other Cheveners in your universities, also other students from different countries. So that will be a chance. And then alongside studies, you'll have an opportunity to work for 20 hours a week. Is it 20 hours a week? Yes. So you can also take advantage of that to, earn a little money for yourself. And after studies, there are some internship opportunities. Personally, I was able to get an internship at the BBC, a placement. I worked at the BBC headquarters in London for 4 months, producing a radio show as part of my work experience after studies. So they'll present those opportunities to you once you're there. So beyond studies, you're going to learn all that. And then finally, after studies, you're required to come back to Uganda for 2 years. At least work here for 2 years, do some kind of knowledge transfer, and be able to benefit others who are back home. Now, for the sake of others, don't go to the UK and then decide to stay there illegally, overstay your visa, because we need to have a clean record. We need to, you need to pass, one way of passing this on to the next group is by making sure that everybody who goes comes back, and such that they don't have to reduce on our scholarship slots or anything like that. So when you get there, do study, finish, and come back before you overrun your visa. It's just, let me just say, it's good manners to do that and come back such that you don't have any complications, both for yourself as an individual and also for the scholarship for those in your country who are looking forward to getting the same scholarship years down the road. Olivia, that's it from me for the introduction to the Chevening Scholarship. Thank you. I'll welcome questions if there are any later on. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Benon, for that introduction. Now we will hear from Jacqueline about where do you find the Chevening Scholarship. Jacqueline, share with us, where did you find it or how did it find you?
Thank you very much, Olivia. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jacqueline Kaija, and I think the rest of my profile Olivia has shared. So about how I got to know about the scholarship. Usually when the scholarships are awarded, there are newspaper articles that are written. So back in the day, I used to read about how people are getting Chevening scholarships and all of that. But something that was discouraging about those articles to me was that the people that we are receiving the scholarships were new. So I'd read articles and it's one person, two people, three people. And so back then I disqualified myself. I thought this competition is too stiff. So along the way, I talked to some friends, and I remember there's an alumni also, Betty Naya. I'm sure some of us know her. She encouraged me to apply for the Chevening scholarship, but I was hesitant. I didn't tell her I was hesitant, but I was hesitant because I thought it was too competitive. So as the years went by and my desire to pursue my master's degree intensified, I decided to give it a shot. I stepped out in faith and I made my application, and yeah, by God's grace, I was able to get the Chevening award. About my Chevening journey, Chevening, like all of us have heard from here and there, has a lot that it affords people that receive the scholarship. One of the things that I really benefited along my journey has been networks. I remember when we started out, one of us, our cohort mates, created a WhatsApp group, and that helped us to bring us together. Chevening itself created a dedicated platform on social media for scholars that year. And so that helped us to connect and network. And then as an individual, I also reached out to other alumni who had got a scholarship because I had to make the most of my time in the UK. And so I asked them how the experience had been, what had helped them make it. And so through those networks, I was able to get very valuable advice that helped me along my Chevening journey. Chevening also has a system of attaching scholars to program officers. And so I was attached to a program officer, and each program officer is in charge of a certain number of scholars. So that support was also very critical for my journey as a scholar. We also had a university for person. So the program officer used to link up with the university for person and to make sure that we're doing well. And speaking for my cohort that year at the University of Bradford, we really had a very good focal point person who introduced us to top management at the university, and he would speak the world of us. So when we interact with top management, they just knew, we were like the top three, but that made our life a bit easy, getting to university. So that was a privilege that I got along my Chevening journey. On to the main thing, as study. The facilities were world class. The UK study facilities are world class, the lecture theatres, the methodology. So I had access to all of this, and this enabled me it fired up my ambition even more. By the time I was done with my Chevening Scholarship Award, I was more ambitious. I was looking at the bigger picture. I was more curious. My mind was enlarged. And yeah, I was seeing life from a very different angle compared to when I started out on my Chevening journey. And then we also had the opportunity to travel across the UK. Chevening used to organize trips every now and then. And at a subsidized rate, you'd be able to take trips to different cities and experience the British culture in many different ways. There was also a host program where you got to spend some time with a UK family to better understand Can you hear me, Olivia?
Yes, I can hear you, but sometimes your sound ebbs in and out. So you
Okay.
go low.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get closer to the speaker. Sorry about that. Yes, so we had opportunity to travel as scholars, and so I was able to take trips to different cities at different points in time. And then we had the opportunity to interact with British families through the host program. And then we also had support through a monthly newsletter that's called the Scholagram. It helped highlight different aspects of the British culture that helped us to get to know the British culture better. And then, like I started out, the networking thing was really a big thing for me along my training journey. And so I was able to, I find that when you travel to different cities, this is post-award, when you travel to different cities, you're going to find that there are lots of travelers in different countries. And if you need information, if you need maybe places to go, you'll be able to find that kind of information, even at a professional level. And then I've also had the opportunity to serve as the treasurer of the previous executive committee. And that has been a critical part of my training journey as well, to be able to be part of the change that I would like to see in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for sharing. Now we're going to hear from Dr. Sheila Belinda about who is eligible. Is there such a thing as an age limit? And Sheila, could you also address if one really needs to sit an English test to apply for this? Over to you, Sheila.
Thank you very much, Olivia. I hope I'm audible. I just wanted to thank the committee and the organizers for the opportunity to share my experiences here with you all today. And then also, Olivia, thank you for your kind introduction. I just wanted to add that additionally, in working with UVRI, that is Uganda Virus Research Institute, I also work specifically with the MRC, which is Medical Research Council, and London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. And it's all based at the Uganda Virus Research Institute in Entebbe. Well, I would like to say that, as you're all aware, education and learning has evolved over the years, and it's extremely important to integrate, particularly at the graduate level, to integrate some aspect of international or global components to help build or strengthen your career as you move along. So we are very grateful to the UK government as well as its partners for providing this Chevening scholarship opportunity. Like any other job, when applying for scholarships under Chevening, one has to do due diligence to understand the key requirements and eligibility. During my research, as Olivia had significant changes over the years. I did mine together with Emmanuel 20 years ago at Nottingham University or University of Nottingham. Specifically in my reading, I discovered that the requirements are more or less the same to date for eligibility. So when you're doing your due diligence before, of course, making your application, you need to make sure that your citizenship is aligned or you're aligned to countries that meet eligible for the Chevening scholarship. So not every country is eligible to apply for Chevening scholarship. So the first step is Uganda eligible to apply for Chevening scholarship. I know majority of us attending the webinar today as Ugandans, and we know that yes, Uganda is eligible for Chevening funding. And then some of the key issues I came across have been mentioned in passing by our first speaker. However, I will quickly run over this. It is extremely important to also realize that there is a tag once awarded this scholarship. You need to be able to return to your country in the UK and ensure you integrate into the Ugandan labor market and make your contribution to make your community better. That is, you need to be able to associate with other Cheveners, share your experiences with others, and also contribute, such as poverty alleviation, as well as research in different areas or other public health or any field that you may be involved with. And this requirement is for a period of about 2 years. So it is extremely important that you align to this. Additionally, you need to have completed all components of your undergraduate degree. Is not really recommended for a Chevening scholarship. So you need to have your transcripts and all your modules and your scores and grades completed, and your certificate is a key requirement. And then also, because academic strength as well as the quality of your undergraduate degree is extremely important. Ideally, applicants are recommended if you have a second upper class degree, as well as first class and above, equivalent to the UK system, which I think we align to as Uganda. And then additionally to your undergraduate qualifications, it is recommended for one to have had some level of prior postgraduate level qualification, which may be a diploma in that area of specific interest. It could also be another MSc degree. However, an equivalent out 2 years in that relevant area you plan to pursue. And yes, and you need to receive unconditional offer from an eligible UK university before you can apply for a Chevening scholarship. So in addition to your postgraduate requirement, you need to ensure by the time you're making your Chevening scholarship application, you already have a conditional offer from a UK university. So what is usually recommended in such cases is that in preparation for your application, you can already make application to about 3 universities in your area of interest, and hope that by the time the opening comes up for the Chevening scholarship, you at least have one offer. Of course, if you have several, this is also good. You'll have the opportunity then to consult with your mentors which university best meets your career path and your interests at that time. And then you need to be able to demonstrate the potential to rise to a position of leadership and influence. So through your personal attributes, you need to be able to show your intellectual capacity, interpersonal attributes reflecting this potential. This ties well with that postgraduate requirement. For example, if you've had the opportunity to work for a period before you put in your scholarship, out of your experience, you're able to share if within your collaborative activities, working as a team, because at this time you're junior, have you had the opportunity to lead within the group a certain aspect? This will be quite important as you describe and try to make cases for your leadership roles at that early or young level. So it's extremely important that you have this opportunity to work with others, collaborate with them, and also show that you've led on certain key aspects. And then, of course, you need to meet all program-specific eligibility requirements, and you should not hold a British or dual British citizenship. So you need to be a true Ugandan in this case, just one citizenship. And then you need to also make sure you've not been funded or received UK government scholarship funding for a period of about 5 years before you make this application for Chevening scholarship. And you should not be an employee or a relative of any employee of the UK government, as this would result in issues around conflict. So you need to make sure you're not conflicted in any way. Regarding the English requirement, Olivia, during my research and preparation for the webinar, I discovered that the Chevening Scholarship Program specifically no longer requires applicants to meet the English requirement as part of the application process. However, because there is that other condition where you need to have conditional offer with the universities, you will find that the universities may have requirements regarding the English, your English language capability. So right now, with regard to the Chevening Scholarship Program, this is not a requirement, but it will be a requirement for some of the universities that you will be admitted to. Well, in my experience, about 20 years ago at Nottingham, I did discover that the universities may actually, in a way, be justified in having the English sort of as a requirement for some key countries. At that time in Nottingham, I think we had several Chinese students, and they did experience challenges with the English language. So at that time, the university had created a program where several months before the program started in September, or the semester started in September, and then they had the opportunity of learning and being trained, which would allow them to integrate with the community, the culture, with limited challenges. However, for Uganda, I know that we are taught in English, and all the way from nursery school to the universities. So for us specifically, this may not be justifiable, but then again, it depends with the university where you're applying to. So basically, those are my comments with regard to eligibility. However, I also just wanted to add that since you're preparing, you may need to also check the relevant program page to ensure that you've covered all the eligibility requirements in addition to those that I've highlighted here. Thank you. Over back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Sheila, for that wonderful presentation. To everyone who has logged in, if you have questions, please feel free to type in the Q&A box. We have some of our members ready to answer your questions. And now you might be wondering, what's the big deal about Chevening? We're going to ask Kasozi Andrew to share with us what was the best part of being a Chevening scholar. Kasozi Andrew, over to you. I think he might have dropped off, so I am going to use the powers of my dictatorship and ask Helen Nanteza to share with us. She is one of our outstanding alumni. Share with us what was the best part of being a Chevening scholar. Helen, I hope you're ready. You're on.
The beauty of being a Chevening is that you should already be ready. What do they call it? Ambushed. However, I want to greet you all and thank you all for joining us today. The beauty of being a Chevener or getting a Chevening scholarship, as already mentioned, let me first introduce myself. I'm Helen Nanteza Kawesa, a Chevener 2000-2001, University of Sheffield, where I did a bachelor's in political communication, master's in political communication. I'm happy to be here. The Chevening scholarship opens many doors for us. First of all, as my colleagues have already said, you get admitted to a British university of your choice, and you owe your fees. Tuition fees are paid for. On top of that, you get a stipend, a very, very good learning environment, networking, working with professors who are out there whom you'd never meet. Basically, it opens doors. The program and the scholarship opens doors for you. and even the qualification that you get. I think that in these universities, as everybody knows, there's so much facility to do a lot of research. The libraries are well stocked. At that time, we still had libraries which were physical. I think I had someone mention at the beginning that we are fossils. The libraries were physical. You'd walk in, sit down. The professors are very friendly and open. There's help if you feel that things are not moving as well as they should. There's always someone to help. The program officer is willing to help you, and also the academic staff. Additionally, when you get your qualification, we have a global network. We network globally, and I believe nowadays it's even better than when it was in the past. You are able to network globally with people of your like-minded people like you. That gives you a vast network all over the world. So now I believe many of our colleagues who have graduated recently in the 2000s, after 2010 and so on, many of them have managed, after coming home for the 2 years, they've managed to get jobs outside Uganda in institutions and organizations that are development oriented, and therefore they are sitting at that global table to be able to impact on making the world a better place, including Uganda. So it opens doors for you, very rich program. It challenges you to think further, to read harder. And I've seen a number of our colleagues who have managed to get us masters have gone on to even do a PhD, doctorate, postdoctorate, doctorate and doctorate, because it opens your mind. It shows you that there's a world out there which is bigger than where we are now. So I think it would be the best place to be. Secondly, I should emphasize this, it's very transparent. Ugandans, we have a problem of not trusting these scholarship applications. Excuse me to use a Luganda word, that there's a ukwakulizo. Ukwakulizo means that there's always something behind there. You should do something behind there to get this scholarship. In this application for Chevening, it is you. It is open. It is managed by the British High Commission and the Chevening Secretariat. Put in your best, go in and do your stuff. You get out with the best, you get out with the scholarship. It's open. You don't have to lobby anybody. You don't have to part with any shilling. All you have to do is ensure you make a very, very good scholarship. It's really very good application, which is yours, written by you, which you can defend on the panel when you go to the panel, which you can ably defend. You have to be a good public speaker. You have to be able to be a person who has a dream, a person who is a leader and an influencer. As long as you know what you want, put it down on paper, internalize it, convince yourself that this is what I want, apply for the university that you want, get your place, go to the panel, bring out your best in the panel. Be competitive, but be yourself. You get that scholarship. So basically what I'm trying to say, if you are a leader and an influencer, if you qualify for this scholarship, you'll get it. So I think in a nutshell, that's what it does. 1, opens doors for you. 2, it's transparent. 3, it challenges you to think harder. 4, it's a vast network of people all over the world. Thank you, Chair.
Helen, thank you so much for showing up and giving us a concise response. We appreciate you. Our time is running fast. We are meant to be going into a video from to hear from other alumni. But right now, let's hear from Ibrahim Bossa, who's going to share with us what the impact has been on his professional life and even outside his profession. Has Chevening been, can he look back on his career and say that Chevening has done wonders? Ibrahim Bossa, we are excited to hear from you. You are most welcome. It appears that on this wonderful day of celebrating independence, Ibrahim has dropped off, but no worries, have no fear. We have several people who are ready to take up the mantle, as you have heard. Billy, are you there? I am exercising all the powers of my dictatorship. Full independence. Billy, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Thank you so much. Can you please share with us how the Chevening Award has impacted your career and also other areas outside your career? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivia. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank everyone that has joined us. My submission will be very brief. As had been alluded to by Benon earlier, Chevening gives you access to places that ordinarily you wouldn't be able to gain. Right now, I work with the UN, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. And as you can imagine, joining the UN is not quite an easy thing. But if you have qualifications like the Chevening Scholar, it's something that you move with proudly. And when you enter an interview room, people already see that you're a Chevening Scholar. That already gives you like an advantage. I know many of my cohort mates from 2018, 2019. I went to the University of Reading, where I studied development communication. So I know many of my cohort mates, they returned to Uganda for the 2 years, mandatory 2 years, but many of them have very nice jobs in America. One recently got a job with UNESCO in France. So the sky is the limit as long as you're a Chevening Scholar. But for now, all you need to do, like Helen was saying, is put in effort in that application. Like this scholarship is worth more than 200 million shillings, Ugandan shillings. If you add the tuition fees plus the pocket money they'll give you every month, it's way over 200 million shillings. So, so you need to really put in the effort if you want that money, because if they told you to pay that money out of your pocket, it will not be an easy thing. So yeah, so just to conclude is like Chevening will give you opportunities that ordinarily you wouldn't, or it would be harder for you to get. Like you are competitive globally now. So when there's a job anywhere, you can compete favorably as a Chevening Scholar. Thank you very much. Olivia.
Thank you so much, Billy, for stepping in. And now we will have a very quick video. Alan Bryan, are you ready?
Hi, Olivia. I think it's Diana. Let me engage her. Just give me a second.
Okay, no problem. We will swiftly move on as we arrange for our video. We can now move on to the nitty-gritty of filling the application. And I can see from the questions coming in that that's what you really want us to address, and you have patiently waited an hour and some for us to finally get to the meat. So without further ado, we are going to talk about writing your essays. So Jacqueline, can you please tell us about what is required for writing the leadership essay?
Okay, thanks, Olivia. Olivia, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so the leadership essay is actually leadership and influence. When you are addressing this question, you need to come from a place of knowing that Chevening is looking to help future leaders and influencers hone their skills and make the most of that leadership potential that they have in them. So looking at it from that angle, you need to look through your life experiences. They could be work experiences, they could be voluntary experiences, as long as it's something that shows how you have been a leader and how you have shown influence. So based on those examples, out of your personality and out of your character, you need to give examples. You need to give personalized examples as you write out your essays. Avoid being very general. And as you talk about your, as you mention, as you write out your examples, you could use what we call the STAR technique. It stands for the situation. You describe the situation, describe the task at hand, describe the action you took, and the results. When you're writing out your essays, all of them, not just the leadership essay, you need to realize that the most important thing that you need to expound a lot on is the result or the impact. And it's usually good whenever you can, if it's applicable, to use numbers, statistics. If you refer maybe to a certain report as you're writing your essay, make sure that you are making references to avoid things to do with plagiarism. So the STAR technique is a very good guide, placing major emphasis on what the result was and what the impact was. So while I talked about the essay needing to be personalized, it does not necessarily mean that you need to talk about things that you have done yourself. You can talk about achievements that you have made as a team, but it's important for you to bring out what your role as an individual was in the teamwork. It's okay to work as part of a team, but you need to clearly reflect what your role was in the success of the team. And the STAR technique will guide with that. So that's about giving examples and expounding on your points using examples in the essays. And then there's what I like to call the ripple effect. As you're writing your leadership and influence essays, and all the other Chevening essays really, Chevening is looking to see what the ripple effect of giving you this scholarship is going to be. So if you are, if you're talking about how you achieved A, B, C, and you're just talking about yourself and how the scholarship is going to help you achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve, that might not be as convincing as someone who is talking about how the scholarship is going to help them achieve their ambitions, but at the same time, it's going to also help them in turn impact the bigger picture, which is what I'm calling the ripple effect. How does Chevening investing in you help you to invest in others? And how does Chevening making that investment in you help Chevening achieve bigger things through you? So that needs to come out clearly. It cannot just be about you. Another important thing to consider as you write out your essays is linking the ideas that you are putting across. So there are 4 essays, and my colleagues are going to talk about the remaining 3. But even as you write the leadership and influence essay, you need to consider how the ideas you're putting across in this particular essay are going to tie in with the ideas you're going to put across in the other essays. All the 4 essays need to speak to them. I mean, to speak to each other, so to speak. Yeah, so that is a very important consideration to make. Going back to the issue of giving examples, it's also very important to make sure that you are showing scale and impact. As you're writing out your examples, you need to emphasize that not only did you achieve results, but to what extent did these results impact, or for example, if you're talking about how you led a team and you executed a project and maybe it was coming to year end and you realized you were not exactly reaching target, you can talk about how maybe through that media review, you were able to rework the work plans and all of those details, but talking about the scale or the actual impact of your actions, not just the result that you will get. Yeah, so that's what I have to share for now about the leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for sharing those thoughts on the leadership essay. As you might have heard, the Chevening application has 4 key essays that you are required to draft. And Jackie just took us through leadership. Something she mentioned is do not make it all about yourself. They want to see the bigger picture of how you worked with others to lead to positive changes. And the second essay we're going to talk about is on networking. And we're going to ask Dr. Dina Nasike to briefly tell us about the networking essay. You're most welcome, Doctor.
Thank you. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So about networking, the essay requires you to show what you've been doing in terms of who you've been meeting and what you've been up to outside of maybe your career or your work or your studies if you're just applying from university. So the gist of the essay is who am I networking with and why am I networking with these people and what impact is coming out of this networking. So this essay is interested in finding out what your professional memberships. So that would be worth mentioning here. If you're part of if you're an engineer and you're part of a professional professional body, if you're a lawyer, you're part of a professional body. If you're a doctor and you're part of a professional body, you should mention it here. You know, they're interested in that. And then number 2, what social activities are you interested in? So for example, are you involved in Rotary? Are you in the Lions Club? Are you involved in any social, not enterprise, but social association that is having impact in the community? That is also important to mention here. Number 3, at the places of work, what are you doing there? Are you in I don't want to say circle. Are there associations within your workspace that are doing something to impact community or that you are using for impact? So you could have maybe at your workplace, a place that group of people or association that maybe fundraises for something in the community or goes to do plant trees or something. So they want to know how you are linking outside of that, you know, business as usual that you do. And number 3, your social media. What platforms are you on? Why are you on those platforms? What are you doing through those platforms? That's also something worth mentioning. Dialogue meetings in the community are also important. So if you're on the local council 1 board or local council 1, on the local council of your community, please mention. If you are part of the anything in the community that you know, shows impact or shows leadership on your part, that's also very important to mention. So again, I will mention what we are interested in is who is the networks that you are involved in, who are you connecting with, why do you network with these people, and what do you get from networking with these people. So you can use past, you can use present, you can use future networks that you were involved in, are involved in right now, or that you plan to be involved in, and then show how the networking benefits not just you, but other members of the society. That is very critical. Like Jackie said, much as you want to pitch yourself for this scholarship, it's not about you, mostly. It's about how who you are is contributing to something bigger than yourself. That is very important to kind of tag throughout all these essay parts. And then lastly, I will say, please watch your grammar. That is something that really sometimes is a put off to some of the essays. So be concise, be precise. Don't write out something so long. Be concise and precise. Just communicate. Who are you meeting with? Why are you meeting with these people? What impact is it having on you and on other people? So that is what I will briefly say about networking. Over to you, Sheila. Not Sheila.
Olivia, thank you so
Olivia,
much.
sorry.
No problem. That was such a concise explanation. I especially intrigued by how you mentioned what are you doing on social media as part of the networking essay, and that is something that is new with the newer cohorts. That you have this huge platform, and you can use your social media to talk about your networking prowess. But now we are going to hear from Kaswazi Andrew. He's going to tell us about the third essay, which is why study in the UK. I just saw Kaswazi Andrew. Are you here? Yes. Good. You're welcome.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, thank you very much. And apologies prior about the network problem. Yeah, just to build on what everyone else has already said. So when you're trying to make your essay as a Chevening scholar, you're going to try to think about the essay known as a scholarship. Actually, try to think about this in terms of the impact you personally you're going to create. And this literally goes into more of the outcome for your third essay of why you want to study in the UK. So for every, like, personally, I would want to have this this webinar having a personal touch than just a generic. Everyone has a reason why actually they're really applying or they applied for Chevening. So as you write, you're going to notice that there's going to be kind of similarities in your essays, and this is going to be what I would call a theme or an anchor. So for example, if I'm a person interested in sports science, I'm going to write my essay from networking or to leadership, all bringing a bit of sports science or sports leadership somewhere in between. So this literally is going to bring me to the next essay of why studying in the UK. So you're going to notice that there's going to be a flowing story from your first essay to the next essay and to your third essay. So now studying in the UK, number one, of course, you're going to have a preamble of why you're choosing the UK and everything, or you're going to end with that. But what's more importantly is your universities. So these are universities that are going to be universities of your choice. And one of the things that we need to also be mindful is, depending on what you want to study and where you want to study it, Chevening is going to enable you to study or do this program at a UK university of your choice. So you do not need to say that I need to have to be admitted in a given university to qualify to the Chevening scholarship. That's really not going to be it. So you're going to pick your own choices depending on what you as a person you want to do, which is indirectly fitting into your already preconceived theme. But at the back of your mind, you have to know that you're writing this essay in the minds of someone who's going to be reading it. It's not you writing to complete the essay, but you're writing thinking about, if I was someone to review this essay, what would I be looking out for? And some of these things actually are going to be more of impact. So then you go and do your background information about your universities. Number one, you're going to start with the program that you want to do. So for example, this is kind of like automatic. You're not going to choose, I'm going to do, let me say, law in one university, but I'm applying for, let me say, medicine in another. So there's going to be something that has to fit into your theme. And then after picking your universities, so you want to give the justification why you chose these universities. Number one, you're giving a reason why you're choosing the UK. Personally, I mean, it was my dream since a child. I mean, so I personally had a lot to write in this section of the essay than elsewhere. And then from there, you go to your universities. The universities are specific. Read about the blend of the university, then versus the course that you're going to be offered. But then at the end of the day, how does this really going to fully impact or fill into what you really want as a person? So I would think that when you're trying to write the issue of your essay of why the UK, because everyone would want to, of course, it's the UK, but the whole point is as you're writing, you're convincing someone that I am going to the UK, besides X, Y, and Z, this is something that I want to achieve because it's fitting into something that I desired. So the approach for me, I would tell the applicants today is when you're trying to write your essay, try to, number one, think of a theme. So when you're writing your leadership or your networking, you're writing like a flowing story. So then when you come down here, now you're going to come back and then you're leading, or you're going to talk about how the UK is helping you already achieve what you personally already desire or you want to do. I know I could really rant in a little bit more, but I think my 5 minutes might be done. So I would want to hand over to Olivia, but I'm going to keep in the chats to just go on with any other engagements. Over to you, Olivia.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And now we are going to move to the last essay. We're going to hear from Emmanuel on writing about the career plan. Emmanuel, you are well placed to tell us. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Olivia, and thank you very much, colleagues who have already made your presentations, and of course, to the participants in this webinar. Yes, I am really excited today because today is a special day for me. On 9th October 2004, I started my job as a security assistant and also enrolled on the course of a door supervisor. So among my credentials, I am a licensed door supervisor in the UK. I only need to renew my license, and I should be able to do that. And I did that work, and it gave me extra income. That's what someone talked about. But specifically, getting back to the question on career path, there are a few things that I need to mention before I hit that other line. One, the Chevening Scholarship, as mentioned, is an equalizer. You don't need to know anybody. You don't need anyone's gambano, as one says, as it said in Uganda today. You do not need to pay anything or anybody to get this scholarship. It is simply you and what you write and what is within yourself as your potential. So I thought I should make that a bit clear. Now, when you are tackling the question of career path, just like the previous one, previous presenter on why study in the UK, you need to answer a few questions. First of all, we have been told already that it is highly competitive due to the large number of applicants and stringent criteria. But ultimately, the Chevening Scholarship, as Oluka said, is not about you. I mean, Andrew, it's not about you. You get it fine, you go and study fine, all that is good. But remember the catch that you have to come back and stay here and work here for at least 2 years. Now, that is the ultimate impact on return. What are you bringing after this course? What are you bringing back home? And as Andrew said, there is something that should really run through your leadership, your networking, and then your studying in the what? Why study in the UK? It also runs through the area of career path. Now, the issue of career path is very critical. Ask yourself, what are my ambitions? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And how will this program help me achieve that? And I want to personalize it a bit. When I went for this interview and I was asked about career path, I was very clear. I told them I am right now an assistant secretary, and this job ultimately leads to one becoming a permanent secretary. And I told them clearly that for me, I am a permanent secretary in making, and that is what I am focusing on. And I told them what I need to go through from one level to another. And now, once you put that together, then you are really showing how you will move from one step to another. But key thing here is you need to also point out how this very course you are going for, which you have already selected earlier, how it is going to fit into one, the country's needs, but also the areas of intervention by the UK. You need not forget that. It can really be very good if you can weave them clearly. So one other question you need to ask yourself when you're writing this essay, as you are writing it, and is, where am I right now? I am at the entry level in an organization. Where do I want to be? You have mentioned. How do I get there? You then mention what the course is going to help you in the short term, what you are going to be in the short term, then what will you be doing and becoming in the medium term, and then the long term. So this is very clear. And as someone who has had the opportunity to be on the interviewing panel, we have observed that some participants, some applicants, even having made the essays and then get there, we tend to be excited, and we start giving a career path which is not coordinated. First of all, the career path will be read from the essay, the courseworks, the courses you have chosen in the various universities. You are not going to choose like Andrew said, you choose medicine here, you choose law there, you choose the other one, another course. They should be quite related in one field where you are showing you are specializing, and then how your impact will be in that area. So the other thing you should be answering is, how will you use the knowledge you are achieving, that is from the course, the networks while there, and the fellowship as you are meeting, the functions you are attending, wherever you are being invited, the lecturers you are interacting with, and all that. How are they going to impact the country? How are you going to use all that to impact the country on your return? You put that together, you will be really nailing down the question. Please, please, please avoid trying to be overly impressive. And I'm going to give you examples here. And I am formerly a teacher at some level, so I will use the example without any bias to teachers. Somebody says, I am a teacher and my ultimate goal is to become a minister. So what career path is that? Do you have control over who becomes the minister? But it would appear logical if you say, look, I'm a teacher. When I come back and with this master's, I will be appointed a head of department. It is very possible because you'll have enhanced performance, and the head teacher may, you will look around and you become a head of department. You can then, after that, you look at becoming a deputy head teacher and a head teacher. So when you show logic and this logical transition, and for me, I'm using the example as a public servant, but it could be the same even in the private sector and other corporate organizations. You cannot come from officer or entry level or whatever level you call it, and you catapult unless it's the political appointment. But remember, when it's the political appointment, you do not have control over it. So let it be logical, let it be achievable, and something within your control. There's an example of one who said was a doctor and said he's aiming at becoming a minister of health. But the issue is becoming a minister of health. Do you have control over that? No. But you could be a doctor in a hospital and then you become the district health officer maybe, and then that can also send you to the ministry as either an assistant commissioner or a commissioner, and then you look at yourself becoming the director of health services. That is logical and achievable. Then in finally, when you are doing these essays, and now I'm giving general ones, please don't, we know you know how to use the internet and the AI. Do not dare have AI do your essays for you. Because ultimately, even if the AI does it so good for you, when it comes to presenting before the interviewing panel, you will not be as good, because they're trying to see if it is you, the person who actually wrote those essays, and how can you support them. So I would like to stop here. I think my 5 minutes are almost done. But I would also add to what others have contributed, those who have talked about career and the like. Yes, when the time allows, you will be informed by the executive, but the Cheveners in Uganda are celebrating one of their own who has been appointed a permanent secretary. So when we talk about career progression, career growth, we already have a Chevener of 2003, 2004, another fossil like some of us who has now risen to the highest level or in the public service, of course, of permanent secretary. Thank you so much, Olivia, and thanks for listening to me, colleagues.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, and thank you for sharing that good news. Congratulations to the newest permanent secretary. And now I am going to ask Jericho and Sheila to kindly and briefly give us an overview on writing these essays. Brief tips, if you can. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Olivia. I would like to thank Emma, Stella, Andrew, and Jacqueline for the deep dives they've given in their specific areas. So quickly for me, generally, I would like to highlight, because also I'm involved with teaching or supervising students. So briefly, I know during the preamble, do not have this overextended. Try to go to the point directly. And then, of course, as Andrew mentioned, try to make sure there is a linkage between leadership and all the different sections that you're working with. And then it's also important to highlight that the Chevening Scholarship offers you this opportunity, which is a glove fit or a godsend opportunity for you to realize your career goal. Because as we all know, we are from a developing country. And as you heard, the tuition accommodation for that entire period of 1 year may amount to about 200 million Ugandan shillings. This is not money that we can all easily come across. So it's important that you bring out the fact that this would be a golden opportunity if you got it to achieve your goals. And then also you are allowed to show how you're good, and you'll also benefit the scholarship alumni once you get back. And then of course, impact when you get back, as Emma emphasized, is key. And lastly, make sure you write your first draft and share it with others. Do not sit by yourself, and write all these things. I'm sure through your previous undergraduate, you may have some lecturers. If you've had the opportunity to integrate into the workforce before your Chevening application, please get a mentor, could be your peer or someone slightly older or senior, to help you read through and help you harmonize. So make sure you do your due diligence to ensure that your application has received the right input and it's the best that you can submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Jericho? Is Jericho still with us? All right, we seem to have lost Jericho, but no problem. We are still talking about essay writing. In the era that we are in right now, there is a vast array of resources online. Like even today, if you went to YouTube and typed in Chevening application, you are going to get hundreds of videos from Chevening alumni from all over the world. You will also get videos from the Chevening office itself. So make use of the internet. Go to YouTube, type in tips for writing Chevening scholarship essays, and you will get a host of materials. Even some of our alumni have posted videos. One of them is Faith Edigold. She has posted videos about this and on all the 4 essays. So please make use of those resources. The Chevening website is another wonderful resource. It has several articles on do's and don'ts when it comes to writing the essays, when it comes to the entire application, but it also has insights on, have you applied before and you were not successful? It has insights on things that you could have done that dented your application. So please take a deep dive into the Chevening website and also use the resources available. Just go wild with Google and ask Chevening scholarship application tips. It is such a rich resource. But right now we continue to carry on. Thank you so much for the questions that you are sending in. There are several questions coming in. And some of the questions have to do with conditional and unconditional offers. I am going to ask Tina Wamala to kindly talk about some of these questions before we head into the next section, and she will also introduce herself. Tina, you are most welcome.
Thank you very much, Olivia, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Independence Day to everybody on the line. I'd like to first introduce myself. My name is Tina Wamala. I'm the communications specialist and Chevening officer based at the British High Commission in Kampala. So I manage the Chevening program in Uganda, and that's across the range of activities that Chevening runs on an annual basis, ranging from the marketing period, which we're in right now, to supporting incoming or potential applicants or scholars like yourselves on the line, to supporting those who are coming back from the UK, as well as alumni engagement, which is why I'm on the call this morning. So the question around the offers from the various universities. So Andrew hinted that you're required to apply to at least 3 universities during your Chevening application process. It is very important to do the 2 things in tandem. You're basically applying to the universities while at the same time applying for the Chevening scholarship. The reason we encourage you to do them simultaneously is because you are required in your application form to put in your university choices and the rankings respectively. And study in the UK question, as Andrew mentioned, is purely hinged on what informed your choices for the universities you've picked. What led to your decision to choose the universities that you picked? What is it that stands out to you from those universities that you picked? And generally speaking, why the UK, as Andrew said. So it's very important that during your process, couple of things. People assume or think that they need to have an offer from the university while applying for Chevening. That is not the case. We do realize and recognize that some universities take longer than others to come back to you with an offer. Please, please, please apply to universities where you feel you meet their criteria. We have had so many instances in the past, even in the recent past, where people have failed to secure university offers and yet they've gotten the Chevening scholarship. That is a very devastating scenario to find yourself in. So please, the first thing is do due diligence on the universities. Confirm what is their criteria. Confirm if you meet their criteria and if you're able to secure your place in one of the 3. That's why Chevening gives you 3 chances, if you like, for you to pick 3 universities where you feel at least of the 3, you will get an offer in one of the 3. So what normally happens is, depending on the university that you apply to, Different universities, like I said, have different criteria. And again, it boils down to you, what you want, what you expect, your passion, and the university in general. Please chase and follow up that university. By the time you click the submit button for Chevening, we don't expect you to have an offer from any of those 3 universities. You might get an offer in February next year or even in March next year. It takes a while, but it's your responsibility as an applicant to chase those universities and to confirm that you're going to at least secure one of the spots. Now, there are 2 or 3 scenarios that can happen while you're applying to the universities. The first is you can get what we call an unconditional offer. That means the university has given you a place. There are no conditions. They don't require anything else from you aside from your confirmation that you're going to come and study at their university. Then there are other universities that are a bit stricter than others that might give you what we call a conditional offer. And that condition might be an English test, like Dr. Sheila mentioned. Some universities might say, in order to qualify for our course, you need to first do an English test to confirm that you meet certain English requirements. Others might ask you for a pre-entry test. I know lawyers some time back used to have a lot of these pre-entry tests. For the university you apply to, that might be the case. Others have various conditions. If you are extremely hell-bent on going to those universities, make sure that you're able to meet those conditions in time to then secure what we call an unconditional offer. The third scenario, of course, is you are not given an offer at the university that you apply to. The beauty with Chevening, it allows you to change your mind between the submission of your Chevening application until the interview date. So if you see that the 3 universities you've applied to are not responsive, there's not a positive response, you can go ahead and apply to another fresh batch of universities and then come to the interview and say, you know what, I've changed my option A, B, and C to X, Y, and Z for A, B, C, D reason. And of the new changes I've made, I'm happy to inform you that I've actually got a place in University Y. So what am I trying to say? To cut the long story short, in order to secure your Chevening scholarship, especially if you pass the interview, you have up until June next year to secure, at mid-June next year, to secure one unconditional offer from one of the 3 universities you highlighted on your application form. Please do not jeopardize your chance by failing to meet the conditions of the university, yet you've gone through all the hassle of getting the Chevening scholarship, only for you to be devastated at the end by not securing a university offer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tina. That was quite concise, and you have dealt with the main questions. And this actually leads us very nicely into our next section on interviews. And Tina, you are back. You are back in the spotlight. You're back in the spotlight. So please come back and talk to us about attributes for a successful interview.
Thank you very much once again, Olivia. So Helen touched on this when she had the microphone. I will not spill our secrets because I'm obviously conflicted on this, but the Chevening interview is your last chance to really, really leave a lasting impression on the Chevening brand, on the Chevening officials. This is a chance for you to demonstrate you are a future leader. You are somebody who's going to be the game changer that we expect you to be for Uganda and globally. Think of it as the final nail on the coffin. So the different processes that the Chevening Scholarship have undergone are basically looking at or reviewing you on paper. You're being assessed, you're being reviewed on paper. And that's why Helen touched on the fact that Chevening is extremely authentic. It's a transparent program that is merit-based. There's no brown envelopes being exchanged. There are no phone calls being made between people because we purely want to get the best of the best. So now at the interview is where we get to tell and see, one, how passionate are you? How much do you want this? But more importantly, how much do you want to give back and to support society's development? So for us, it's a case of a number of things, and I'm sure what I'm going to say is not new to all of you. The first is confidence. Are you sure of yourself? Are you sure of your story? Are you confident that you could potentially be somebody who will create that impact that we want to see in our country, which is riddled with so many challenges? But do you see yourself contributing to those challenges, to supporting those challenges, to making sure that we mitigate from some of those challenges? Do you see yourself in that? So the first is self-belief. Self-belief, you know, treat the interview as though you're speaking to your best friend or your family members who you're most comfortable with. Unfortunately, over the years, we've seen very many robotic answers, very many structured answers, and that comes to mentorship, which we appreciate and we know is happening in the background. But it's important to be authentic, ladies and gentlemen. Be yourself, be calm, be collected, be sure of your story. Position yourself as someone who's just coming to present your vision, because we want to hear what your plans are. We want to hear what change you're going to create. We want to hear that you're equally as passionate and equally as keen to see changes happening in Uganda in your sector. So it's you coming to tell your story. It's you coming to broadcast that to us, to share your vision with us, to convince us that you have what it takes. And I'll be honest, by the time you get to interview, you're almost all deserving, to be honest. Everybody who is invited for interview is absolutely deserving of the Chevening Scholarship. It is highly competitive. So the difference between not getting it, being a reserve, and getting the scholarship is a very small margin. And it could literally boil down to your confidence, to how well your story is linked, to how synchronized you were in your trajectory and in your impact to society. It boils down to some of those things. So I'd encourage you, before you do your interviews, to ensure that you do the necessary reflection, which you've already done through your application, but to go in there knowing that this is my plan and this is how I plan to sell it. This is how I plan to position it to the panel, and to go in there with a whole host of confidence and trusting in your story and trusting in the impact that you're going to make in society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina, for sharing briefly and carefully so you don't give away your secrets about the interviews. But let's hear now from one of the alumni who have had the privilege of sitting on interview panels. In fact, looking through some of the comments, one of you posted that Helen Nandizakawesa, who spoke earlier, that you posted that you applied in 2018 and Helen interviewed you, though you were not successful. And I am so happy to hear that you are trying again in 2024 and we are rooting for you. So we're going to ask Emmanuel, Dr. Mugunga Emmanuel, to share with us his experience of being on the interview panel. And after him, briefly, we shall hear from Jericho. Jericho, just be on standby. You tell us what your experience was like appearing before the panel. When Tina says be yourself, does that mean show up comfortably or, you know, be professional? So just be on standby. Thank you. Emma, over to you.
Thank you, Olive. And I think to be in line with Tina, the Chevening matron, as we popularly call her, I don't want to be directly to say I'm giving away secrets, but I think what I'm supposed to share now with the members is the encouragement that applying once and not getting it doesn't mean you are not deserving. Consistency is very important, and until last year when we had a candidate who had applied 5 times, I thought I was the record holder because I applied 3 times And that time it was an issue of, there was even the issue of age limit, because beyond 35, you wouldn't be admitted to the Chevening scholarship. That has since changed, as you have already been told. But what happened in my case, the first time, this the Bush High Commissioner sent out forms, and the PS, my PS received them, and he called me, said, yes, Emmanuel, you're a young, bright man, you're a bright young man. I want you to apply for this. For me, I thought it was direct, it was obvious. They have given me forms. The PS gave them to only me. He did not even say that others can apply. So I imagined that I had gotten it. That time I can tell you, I applied, I wasn't even recognized, because there was even nothing to say, thank you for applying. The following year, I said, no way, I have to apply. I applied, I was longlisted, went for the, you'll be surprised, but the Chevening calls what you call shortlisting, they call it longlisting. I was longlisted, went for the interview, and the result was that I was reserve candidate #1. Now, reserve candidate #1 over the years, and even previous years, was always given the scholarship. So I stayed warming up until it came to about, I think, July. When I tried to ask, I was told, oh, sorry, you were not successful, but given the competition and what you were, like Tina has just said, whoever goes for the job is deserving. So that time again, I didn't get. The following year, I again applied for the 2425. Now, at that interview, I kind of decided to take it in my own hands and told the panel that, guys, I am not going to apply again because I can't be a perennial applicant. And in any case, this I'm making 35 next year. So this is the last I will be seeing you, but thank you. Although I believe I qualify for this. I don't know if that's the statement of confidence that made them give me the scholarship. I don't know. But previously, I've just talked about a candidate who had applied 5 times. This gentleman said, this candidate said he had applied 5 times and was not even invited for the interview. But this 5th time, once he was invited, he said, I am not going to waste this opportunity. I have to prepare and I have to pass. Whatever happened, I don't know, but I believe he secured the interview, because from his interaction with the panelists, you could see that he understands the things. And I believe he got the scholarship. So guys, whoever is out there and you think that you have over applied, please, please, please do not be scared. Do not be demoralized. There is always your opportunity. And as a God-fearing country, we always say God's timing is the best. Do not give up. You lose very little apart from data while applying. Thank you so much, Olivia.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That was actually quite helpful. I also applied 2 times. I was successful on the 2nd time. If I look back and think through why wasn't I successful the first time, really, very simply put, I didn't know what I wanted. The 2nd time, I was clear about what I wanted to achieve with the Chevening Award. And as Tina alluded, that whatever you're writing, you have to be convinced about it, that you're able to articulate it to anyone who asks you about it, and you're passionate, and it will show through as you also strive to be your very authentic self. I'm going to ask Jericho to just briefly tell us about his experience appearing before the interview panel. Jericho, are you ready?
Yes, thank you. I can talk about something. Apologies, I can't access my computer, but I'll try to speak through the phone. So first about myself, my name is Jericho Mwanga. I did my master's at the University of Liverpool and had my graduation around December 2023. So I'm from one of the newest cohorts of Chevening. So when I got shortlisted for the Chevening scholarship, it was actually my first time applying. I remember I applied about 2 weeks for the deadline. Tina came to where I work and she gave a presentation online. then I did a lot of reading, a lot of YouTube videos, and then I was able to apply for the scholarship and got shortlisted. So my experience with the interview, I'll just give a few tips to those who are applying and hope to get shortlisted and interview in future. From what Tina mentioned earlier on, by the time you're shortlisted for the interview, most likely you have what it takes based on what you've written. You already have what it takes to get the scholarship. This is based on what I experienced. So when you go for the interview, you simply have to show that you are the person you represented when you were writing. What I mean is that as you write your essay, you'll give examples, say about your influence, about your ability to be a leader, about your networking. There is a person you represent in those essays. So when you present yourself before the interview, it has to be the very same person. The influence style that you talked about, your personality that you might have mentioned in your essays, should be also reflective when the panel speaks to you in person. And then the examples that you give, you have to be able to build further on them and go into more detail. Because when you write your essay, you only have a few words to talk about these examples. So when I went for the interview, I found so many of the questions I was asked were actually to drill further into the examples I had given. What I understood is that the interviewers were really trying to understand if these are credible examples, things which really happened in my life, or things I just made up. And in my understanding, by giving more detail, by showing that you really had this experience in your life, it gives credibility to what you wrote. And of course, as you answer every question, don't forget to follow the STAR approach, where you talk about what happened, you talk about what you did, and the results, you indicate the results quite well. So in conclusion, I have a very brief time to talk about my experience. What I really want to encourage those who are applying is that whatever you write, when you go for the interview, be ready to expound on that. Be ready to represent yourself as a person that you wrote about in your essays. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jericho, for sharing your experience. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been so patient on this wonderful public holiday. And now we are going to open the floor to questions. Already some of our team has been answering your question, and I see that at least 115 questions have been answered. So we'll just go through a few questions, and I will call on any member of the panel to just help us navigate this question. So the first question is about using AI. Are there any AI apps that one can use to improve their writing? And then someone else also asked that they have done their application, and when they run it through an AI tracker, the AI accuses them of being an AI. Billy, I would like you to shed light on this. Can you use AI? Is there any way AI can enhance one's essay writing? Billy, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Olivia, for that. Once again, my name is Billy Rotunyeyo. I spoke earlier. I went to University of Reading in 2018-2019, where I studied development communication, courtesy of Chevening. Yes, you can use AI to enhance your writing, but you have to be very careful not to, not to let AI write all your essays, because you may run into a situation where it is not you. One of the reasons why the interview exists is the panel wants to make sure that the person that wrote the essays is the same person that is appearing before them, not some robot. So you can use AI, but my advice is limit your use of AI. The Dr. Mugungas and the Hedens wrote essays when I don't think there were computers at the time. Sorry about that, but yes. So I mean, why not just write the essays yourself? You know, can use, but limit the use of it. Just write it yourself. You will be very authentic. It is your story. You know how to tell it better. AI doesn't know your journey from a young age. So yes, the tools are there, but my advice personally is you run a risk of getting into issues. One of the biggest advantages of the British education system is they value a lot of academic integrity. There are no negotiations when it comes to copying and plagiarism. So you have to be, it's a tightrope. So as a general rule, I advise use AI, but very, very limitedly. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Billy. We have several more questions to go through. Tina, most of the questions are going to come to you, but for the rest of the panel, please feel free to chip in. Tina, could you kindly speak about whether one can submit more than one application? Someone is asking, can they submit 2 applications? And then also, could you speak about what happens if the university someone is applying to requires deposit fees? What should they do in that case? Thirdly, is there an age limit for the Chevening Award? Tina, you are most welcome.
Thank you so much. I'll start with the age limit. No, there is no age limit for Chevening. It's one of the most inclusive scholarships we have out there in the world. It doesn't discriminate on age, on background, on gender, on your profession, or even generally on you as a person. I think in 2021, Cameroon sent a 67-year-old woman to study in the UK under the Chevening Scholarship Program. That just shows you that Chevening is willing to give anyone a chance as long as they're willing to show that they'll be a global change maker for the future. In terms of more than one application, no, you have to only submit one application. And when you submit it, have that conviction that that is the right, you're happy, you're content with what you've put together in terms of your application form. I always advise applicants to first do their essays in a Word document, keep on polishing and refreshing and, reviewing them. I think it was Dr. Sheila who mentioned there is no harm in getting someone to give it a second eye or even a third eye. Oftentimes as an applicant, you are not, there are small things you might not see from your flow, from the grammar, from the spelling mistakes, etc., which a second eye or third eye would give you. So I really encourage peer reviewing, and the peer reviewing can be amongst you as applicants. You can get a mentor who is a Chevening alumni, even someone from your workplace. We really don't mind. As long as by the time you click the submit button, you must have that conviction that you're happy with what you've put together. I saw somebody asking about wanting to change their application when they've already submitted it. You'll first need to withdraw your submission, withdraw, and then start the process again. Unfortunately, once you hit the submit button, you can't go back and then edit whatever needs to be edited. So please, that's why I said rather work in Word initially, edit as need be until you're happy to submit at that time. Olivia, sorry, what was the third question?
The third question was about sponsors. Eunice is asking, I'm making an application to a university and they require a sponsor's address. What is she meant to indicate in those fields?
So she can just mention.
She's applying to the university and the university requires the address of her sponsor.
I see. Okay. A lot of people encounter this. The first thing I would say is if you're really serious about the Chevening application, please do not pay any money to any university. Helen mentioned that during the Chevening process, you're not required to part with any money aside from your data, which you need to use for your application. So please do not deposit any money to any university. I think a lot of them have a section where you can write or type, I'm an applicant for the Chevening Scholarship. Most times when universities see that you're an applicant for Chevening, they back off, and they shouldn't overly insist that you have to pay them either a deposit fee or a placement fee or whatever it might be. So please do not part with any money. Just mention that you're applying for the Chevening Scholarship, and you'll have your feedback by mid next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina. We continue with our questions. I'm going to ask Alan Bryan, the chairperson of the Chevening Alumni Association in Uganda, to speak about how people can link up with alumni to get reviews of their applications. As I see several people asking if they want to get in touch with someone who's done this before, how can they go about that? Alan, waiting to hear from you.
Thank you, Olivia. I was trying to keep a low profile, but it looks like I've been found out. Olivia, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, you are loud and clear.
Okay, great. About the application, for those who have individual alumni that you know, if you have a close friend who you know is a Chevening alumnus and you can have that kind of rapport that allows you to ask them to assist you with your essay, please go right ahead. There's no problem with that. But as an association, our provision is that you send your essay to Chevening Alumni UG at gmail.com. I'll repeat that. Chevening, the way the word is, alumni, UG, as in Uganda, at gmail.com. There are no spaces within the Chevening Alumni UG. You send your essays to that email address. We shall assign it to someone, and that person will go ahead and support you. We shall link the two of you up, and that person will go ahead and support you in reviewing your essay. But please cooperate with them. And maybe now that we're on this topic, please don't send us all kinds. I think Olivia was speaking to this along the way. Send us something that is worth reviewing, for lack of a better word. Some people just start on the essay, throw words here and there, sketchy stuff, and then they send it to us for review. The people you're sending it to are busy people, and sometimes they consider your work they consider what they put in to apply, and then they see your work and they think this person is not worthy being on the scholarship by just reviewing their essay. You don't want to give that kind of impression just at this stage. So we ask that what you send to us is your best application as at this stage. If you send us your very best, then we shall give you richer feedback than if you send us where we are going to be marking your grammar, sentence construction. You don't want that kind. So we ask that you send us something that even you would be proud of, and that we are just really trying to give you pointers and just polishing your essay. So thank you so much. The email address has been put in the Q&A section.
Yes, please look at the Q&A section and also the chat box for the email address, but also continue to follow our social media accounts on X, Facebook, and LinkedIn, where we will share some of the tidbits that we have talked about today. We have a tip coming in from one of the panelists who has wide international travel experience, and she has one word for all prospective applicants: do not pretend, but be the true you. So when Tina and others were talking about being authentic, this is it really. Don't pretend, but be the true you. So moving on to other questions that are still in our Q&A. Does having a family hinder one from being awarded the Chevening Scholarship? I am going to ask, let's see. I'm going to ask Nicholas, are you there? Nicholas, please turn on your microphone and tell us if having a family sets you back from being chosen for Chevening. If Nicholas is still busy, possibly with family matters. Oh, there he is. Hello,
No,
Nicholas.
I'm online. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Olivia. I'm happy that you progressed all this far. I'm Nicholas Okot. I've spoken to you at the beginning. I'm now back home, so I'm prepared to answer the question. Thank you for the question. Having a family does not affect your scholarship. However, unlike our other partner scholarship, Chevening may not directly sponsor care of the family on that side. It would be good for you to go with them. However, given that the UK master's program is quite tight, it's usually about that, I would advise that you allow the families to stay at home, and then you go to the UK and focus on your study. However, it doesn't affect you at all. You can apply even if you have a family. Like Tina alluded to, you can apply, even those who already have grandchildren can still apply. That doesn't affect them at all. But if you wanted to go with them, then you have to justify their cost on the other side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. Dr. Sheila, are you there? Could you please kindly reiterate the academic eligibility? What are the academic requirements to apply for the Chevening Scholarship?
Okay, I will try to do this very quickly. You need to be, for example, a Ugandan in our case, because Uganda is one of the Chevening eligible countries. And then also, Tina has elucidated on this with regard to offers, because in my earlier submission, I had mentioned that it was a prerequisite for one to have an unconditional offer from the university. However, from Tina's clarification, it appears if you show that I have applied to these 3 universities, then of course the Chevening Scholarship will still consider you as you wait for your formal offer to come through from one or at least all 3 of the universities, and then you can make an informed decision. And then, of course, you need to have completed all your undergraduate courses. As this will be a key requirement, partial transcripts and certificates will not be tolerated during the Chevening Scholarship application. It may not be necessary, but postgraduate experience, which could be from work experience, working with teams in your area of interest, will strengthen your essay, as you will have live examples to contribute to your journey and where you want to go and how this will impact, upon your return. As we all know, you need to be back in Uganda, in country, to contribute to labor market force in Uganda, improve your society and community by, of course, in your various area of specialty. So you need to be able to show this impact. And then you need to show that there will be growth into leadership. For example, I'm a scientist, that is research leadership. How do I end up leading a research team? How then will this impact with regard to public health in country? And then you need to be able to show your personal attributes, how you work well in a team, how you collaborate, and then your leadership aspects regarding key assignments that are given to the team you're working with. You should not have dual citizenship. You should not be related to someone working within the UK government, for example, British Council. You shouldn't have worked, or you shouldn't be working there yourself. And then you shouldn't have received UK funding in the last 5 years prior this application. And then also key regarding the English requirement, My research highlighted that the Chevening Scholarship Program no longer requires applicants to meet the English language requirement as part of the application process. However, the different universities will have different requirements. So if you're required to take an English test or any other pre-entry test, then it's up to you to ensure that you have all this done before you submit your application for the scholarship or during your submission process. And then, of course, please go to the website for a deeper dive to access any other eligibility criteria I could have missed. Thank you. Back over to you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Sheila, for that brief and concise response. We still have so many of your questions coming in, and we appreciate how long you have stayed with us in celebrating Independence Day today. We'll just go through a few more questions, and then we will allow every panelist to give us their parting remarks, and we will close as we try not to keep you longer than we promised. So to Dr. Dina, if you could turn on your microphone. Sorry, Emmanuel, is there something you wanted to share? Okay, Dr. Dina.
The quick one is on family, which Nicholas answered. Sorry, the training does not, as he said, provide for your family. The best they can do is give you a letter if your family wants to come and visit. Remember, it is 9 months to do your course, so they expect you to concentrate, but they can give you a letter if your family wants to come and visit. Then they do not give you an unless change. They do not give you an air ticket to come in between, unless yours is research-based and you are coming to do field-based research back home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That was actually a very crucial point. While I was doing my study in Bradford, the Chevening office did provide for a family member. They provided a letter for a family member to come see me, but all costs are not on Chevening because that's not part of their funding. But yes, Dr. Dina, can you kindly take us through this question? Does having another master's in a totally different area dent someone's chances of being chosen for the Chevening scholarship?
Thank you, Olivia. So no, that's the long and short of it, no. I did a Master's of Science in Global Health Policy at the London School of Economics and Political Science. But prior to that, I had another master's before I applied for the Chevening Scholarship. And that master's was a Master of Arts in organizational leadership and development from Uganda Christian University. So two completely unrelated masters, seemingly. One is a Master of Arts, one's a Master of Science. But I got that scholarship, and I'll tell you why. There's a caveat on that. It is the way that you write and qualify your scholarship application. So already, as all the speakers have kind of insinuated, it's a leadership-based scholarship. A leadership ability or demonstration of it is very important in kind of lifting your chances of getting the scholarship. So in my essay, I had to write about why I did that Master of Arts in organizational leadership and and I had to show how that kind of connected to the Master of Science I wanted to do in global health policy. So in my case, I linked them in a way that I wanted to go and study this Master of Science because I wanted to understand how policies were constructed and worked in the context of my country and how I could contribute to that process. That required me to understand the principles of leadership because I was in the end going to learn how to connect with different people in leadership positions, policymakers, but then also at the end of the day, I plan to be one of the team. And that required me to understand the basics of leadership principles. So that is how I constructed it into my essay. So it's about how you connect the two in your essay so that there is coherence. And I think all the speakers have been speaking to this. There needs to be a flow and coherence in your essays about how what you did, what you're doing, and what you're going to do, how they are connected, and at the end of the day, how does that all come together in the context of the impact that you want to have in the future. So no, not necessarily that previous masters will impede, will stop you or will hurt your chances of getting a scholarship. That is not true. But again, I will put a caution there, going back to what Sheila said. If your previous scholarship was funded by the UK government, then definitely, yes, it may be a problem, especially if it has been achieved within 5 years. So that will be a definite roadblock to you getting this scholarship. But if it's not been funded by the UK government, it's in an area that is connected to what you're applying to, connected to the impact you want to have after you finish your master's and come back to Uganda, then it actually becomes a strength and an asset to your application. So that's what I'll say about that. Thank you. Back to you, Olivia.
Thank you so much, Dina. We appreciate your experience. A burning question here is going to go to Tina. Anonymous says, Uganda's second-class upper award starts at 3.6. Many UK universities take their uppers award starting at GPA of 4.0. Does that mean if one has below 4.0, they have a second class lower? Does this dent their chances? Is the question clear, Tina?
Yeah, somewhat. It boils down to the universities, like I said. Some universities are more keen on, you know, like they have certain criteria they're looking at in order to give you a place. So again, back to what I said initially, the due diligence that you do when you're applying to the university to confirm whether you have and can meet their criteria really matters. Some universities actually even accept second lower. I know a couple that are happy with the second lower, but the standard is normally second upper and above. What I do know though, in terms of the margins or the comparisons is our second upper is also almost the equivalent of what the UK's has. But again, it's dependent on the university, like I said, that you're applying to. So you just need to cross-check and cross-reference that you actually meet that criteria. Hope that answers the question.
Don't go yet. We have one more question for you. If someone already studied in the UK and now they're applying for Chevening, will that dent their chances?
No, it won't, especially if their first degree or whatever they were studying was not funded for by the UK government. We're happy to accept them under the Chevening Scholarship. I think about 4 years ago, we had somebody who had done their undergraduate self-funded in the UK and then came back to Uganda and applied for Chevening for the master's and was accepted and went and studied in the UK under the Chevening Scholarship Program. So no, it won't dent it, especially if you were not funded for by the UK government prior.
What about if the university in Uganda has some kind of links to UK funding? We keep going back to the funding question.
If you as an individual did not benefit from UK funding, whether if it's an institution, that's a totally different ballgame, and you are not to blame for the institution having affiliation with the UK. But if you as an individual did not benefit directly from the UK government funding, you can apply for Chevening.
Thank you so much, Tina. Benon, I hope that you're ready. We have a few questions for you. This has to do with the criteria for referees. Do they all have to be academic? Do they all have to be in the field of study that an individual is applying to for their Chevening application?
Okay, for referees, it's advisable to have a professional referee, somebody who has followed your academics, and also you could have somebody who knows you from your work as a leader outside your professional life. So you need to make sure that you have a proper mix of your your referees, because that helps you. I mean, they will help to give a much more rounded set of recommendations about you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for that brief answer. Our questions are still coming in, but our time is running really, really short. And we want to keep our promise that we will end on time, and Diana will be happy with that. So right now, I will ask that as your questions keep coming in, I ask the panelists to keep doing the great work they're doing already in trying to answer as many questions as they can before we close. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to ask each of the panelists to give us their parting shot. So I'm going to start with Nicholas. Nicholas was not one of our panelists, but as you heard, he's our vice chairperson and has been quite helpful in setting this up. And of course, his experience is quite rich. So Nicholas, please go ahead and share your parting shots for our participants.
Okay, thank you so much, Olivia, and thank you, participants, for the active participation in this webinar program. The Chevening Scholarship is a good journey to begin with, and it's been a good journey for me. It's taken me.
Nicholas, your sound is not clear.
It's allowed me to also move on to the right direction. Challenges is very competitive. There are few people, and like Emmanuel has hinted on earlier on in his remarks, even if am I better now? Hello, Olivia, or anyone?
It's choppy.
Okay, maybe it's raining this side. Maybe the rain is affecting me, but yeah, ultimately what I wanted to conclude with is that please apply, begin the process, and even if you don't go through, reapply again and again and again until when you get through. It is enable many people to actually achieve the dreams they wouldn't have achieved if they were being sponsored by their own parents. I thank you all and wish you all the very best in the.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. Emmanuel, your parting shot.
Thank you so much. I will give my parting shot basing on one question where someone is saying with only 16 Chevening has selected this year and let's say about 1,500 home applicants last year. Isn't this unrealistic to really? I think we don't have to look at it that way. Look at yourself as the one applying and look at your slot. For me, when I was applying, I said, I don't care how many they take. I have to be one of those they take. So for me, if they are taking 4, the rest are competing for the 3. For me, I have mine already. So then you work hard to take that. Otherwise, I mean, there's a lot of competition everywhere. But I always make a joke, a scientific joke, that whoever is born is a winner. You know how many people you competed with to come out as the child. So please, colleagues, members, in any way, go in and go for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for those brief words. Jackie? Your parting shot.
Parting shot. Thanks so much, Olivia. Thanks everyone for making a time to attend the webinar today. My parting shot would be that this scholarship is every bit worth your time and effort. It changes your life in so many ways, on so many fronts. So please make sure that you put in all the time, all the effort that's needed. Don't wait until the last minute. The deadline for this current window is November 5th. So make sure, right now you should be just polishing up your essays really. And yeah, go ahead and put in all the work, the hard work that's needed, submit a very stellar application, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Benon?
Okay, thanks. I had a lot to say earlier on,
Please,
but
please go
unfortunately.
ahead and try and say it
Yes.
as quickly as
Okay,
you
so
can.
I'll try to be brief with everything. So the first thing is, you know, when you're putting together your essay, of course, you have a limit, word count limitation that you should eventually reach. But it is always good to just pour your heart out. You know, if you're responding to an essay, even if the ultimate word count is 500, you should have no qualms about writing 2,000 words or thereabout, and then you begin editing it down. It's better for you to pour your heart out as to why you need this scholarship, and then edit down to exactly what you want. Also, those who will be reviewing your essays will help you to cut down the words, but they will know exactly what you want to say. So don't start by limiting yourself to a certain number of words when you're writing your essay. Two, I know many of us Ugandans are quite modest. We tend not to want to blow our trumpets too much, but this is the one opportunity where you want to really, you know, talk about your achievements in the way that enhance, you know, your application. Sometimes we try to write generic, vague responses because we are trying to be modest, but the panel is looking for really specific examples that demonstrate your unique qualities, your unique contributions. So go into what your achievements are, what your contributions are in as much detail as possible. Write in the most impactful way that you can, they're able to actually feel your passion about why you are the best candidate for this scholarship. Then sometimes people rush or submit an incomplete application. There's no excuse to do that. There's no excuse not to write, because there's a long period within which you can do this. You should ensure that you complete the application, you take your time reviewing it with different people. There's no excuse to write something incomplete or rushed, because you have the time, you have the support system, not just within your professional and other lives, but also within the Chevening alumni family. There are people who are willing to help you to do something much more robust. Then when it comes eventually to the interviews, you don't want to go into an interview when you have not at least done some mock interviews. So put together a mock panel at home or at work. Let them ask you the questions that could potentially come from the Chevening panel and try to respond to them. In my own case, I actually applied for some jobs which I did not want, but I applied such that I could face a real interview situation before the Chevening interview came. Eventually, I didn't want the jobs, but that environment, I wanted to feel, you know, the interview environment, such that when I went into the Chevening interview, I was not going in for when I'm rusty, when I've not done interviews in a long while. So, you know, you're planning the kind of things you do will eventually work towards making you a competitive candidate for this opportunity. So, and embrace planning, embrace preparation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Benon. Our questions, I see we're still getting questions for our panelists. Thank you that you're still trying to see to as many questions as you can before we close. But I'll also encourage everyone who's logged on to keep following our social media accounts on X, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and tag us and ask us your questions. Send us emails. We are where we can support, we are more than happy to do that. And where we don't know, we will definitely work hard to find someone who actually knows. And now we'll hear from
Olivia, just before you, sorry, may I suggest that we could set up, the Alumni Association sets up a WhatsApp group of applicants such that people can continue to ask questions, and then one of our members will just keep referring them to whoever is best placed to answer the question. Because I'm sure they'll have lots of questions going forward, but may not have the platform to do it. So a WhatsApp group of applicants would really do a great job to help them going forward. Thank you.
That's a great idea, Benon. I will Diana and Alan Brand in their closing remarks will shed more light on the way forward, because I also see several questions, people asking for another of this webinar, and to actually make it a series where maybe we can even go in depth into the essays and just focus on essays. But now we'll hear from Dr. Dina, sorry, for her brief remarks.
Thank you, Olivia. My brief remarks are 4 ways. One, I will just spin off where you've been on essay writing. The standard laws of essay writing apply. I've realized many of us forget how to write essays, and introduction, body, conclusion, they apply. And make sure there's a flow, please, to your ideas and how you're expressing yourself. You have 5 essays. And so you need to be able to represent what you want to say concisely, but also in a way that flows, and in English. Grammar is important, punctuation. I think those are some of the simple put-offs that may disadvantage you, and yet you are a very good candidate. Number 2, please, it would be worth going back and learning English again, because I think one of the wake-up calls I had was I thought I could speak English, I knew English, but when you're required to write academic level English for a master's paper and master's academic content, there is a level of writing that you're required to have. And so even as you write your essays, because the essays is simple writing, academic writing is quite different. So you need to be able to, you need to go back and teach yourself how to write again. Teach yourself how to write, polish up on your English. And even if the English requirement is not there anymore, I would encourage it, because it's going to be very important. When you go for these master's courses, you're not an undergraduate, you're expected to know how to write. So coach yourself, teach yourself. Even as you look for mentorship in essay writing, please teach yourself to write. That is one of the things you should prepare for, because nobody is going to teach you. You're going to be expected to hop into the course, the rubber hits the road, and nobody is going to teach you how to write, and yet you're going to be expected to deliver the same academic contents as your colleagues, without crying about the fact that your English is letting you down, and it is marked in the academic content. It's a big letdown in the first weeks of the semester. So just be prepared for that. So please teach us, go back and teach yourself how to write and English again. Number 3, do some soul searching. When you apply for this scholarship, it's not just I want, it's about, have you come to that part, that stage in your life where you know that you know what you want to do. You have a career path planned out. You're not just doing because things are available, because that is going to show in your essay and how you express yourself in your interview. So by the time you apply for this essay, you should be sure about what you want to do in the long run, because it will show up in your essay. So, and you should be able to connect that to where you've been, the elements of, what has brought you to this point, and how does this point pivot to taking you where you want to be. And if you've listened to the panelists and people who have talked, they have had, even those who applied in 2004, they have not spun off what they learned. They have actually continued in the path of what they studied. That requires you to have made peace with yourself, where you want to go, where you're at, before you apply for this essay. Otherwise, you're going to let yourself down. And as Olivia hinted, the first time she didn't get the essay is because she was not sure what she wanted. So that's one of the things that will discourage you and in you not getting the scholarship. So please make peace with that. Do some soul searching, and then apply for this scholarship. On the interviews, your body language, just be yourself. Come with all of you. Do not try to package yourself into somebody else's container. Come with yourself, come with your passions, you know, but also learn to talk about yourself. I think one of the hardest questions is, and it's the question that opens the interview, tell me about yourself, you know, learn to talk about yourself. In like 3.5 minutes, you should be able to tell me your past, present, and future in a way that is connected to the scholarship. So learn to talk about yourself, and because that is going to be a very important skill when you are coming for the interview. Sometimes you have a very good essay, but then when it comes to express about yourself, your body language, it's like you're a different person in the interview room. And so then you begin to cast suspicion on yourself. So learn to communicate, even as you're coached on how to write, learn to communicate. Things like body language, eye contact, expressing yourself, they're very important and they can be make or breaks in that interview room. So I'll leave it at that and back to you, Olivia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dina. We really appreciate you. Dr. Sheila, are you there? We would love to hear your parting remarks.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope I'm still audible.
Yes, we can hear you. Sheila, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Okay, no problem. As we wait for Sheila's connection to come back, Billy, once again, could you kindly just share with us the social media handles and also speak again about AI? Someone is asking, can I use AI to shorten my essay? Billy, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Olivia. So for those who didn't see my handsome face, you can now see it earlier. So our social media handles are Chevening Alumni Uganda. That's on all platforms. We are very active on LinkedIn. We are very active on Twitter. Some of us still call it Twitter, but it is now X. We are also active on Facebook, although that page is not very active, doesn't have as much engagement, but we are very active there as well. We are active on, we have a YouTube channel, and I think we shall post this webinar there. Yeah, so go onto those pages, like, follow, we post a lot of content there. We have a lot of discussions that take place there, alumni, whatever they are doing. We also have now a website, Chevening Alumni Uganda. You can, I'll put it in the chat, but you have a website very well. You can check, if you check on our Twitter page, the link is there for the website. So yeah. So on the AI, again, I am not I wouldn't encourage people to use AI a lot, because again, like what someone was saying earlier, you have to be yourself, write those essays yourself. They're just 500 words per essay. Come on, you can't write 500 words by yourself, you know? So per essay is 500, just write them yourself so that you avoid the pitfalls of not being yourself, and then you jeopardize your chances of getting the scholarship. So yes, thank you very much. And that's my parting shot. Again, go for it. I know Ugandans, we suffer what I call imposter syndrome. We feel it's not mine, you know, I'm not deserving, you know, I came from this school, I went to this university, so who am I? So just go for it. You have nothing to lose other than just a few MBs, which you could have spent on TikTok anyway. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Billy. Even though he attacked our TikTok time, but no problem. Challenge yourself to actually see if there are any TikTok videos about how to apply successfully for the Chevening application. The internet is always full of surprises. Yes, Sheila, I see you are back. We're glad to have you. Please share with us your parting shot.
Chair, I hope you can hear me. It's raining cats and dogs here, so my internet is unstable. Okay, so my parting shot is around, if you've worked hard, gone through the gruesome application process, please, when you get to the UK, work extremely hard and ensure you get your master's, which was your intended goal. At the Nottingham University, we had several students. Luckily, they were not Chevening scholars. However, they did have their MSc downgraded to a diploma. You don't need to come back with a diploma. You need to get the master's, which was your intended qualification. So please work hard, behave well. Everything you do at that time matters extremely in the future. For example, I have gotten additional funding from the UK government just because of because of making outputs at that time and continuing to work hard. So everything matters from now. Application, once you're successful, when you get to the UK, then you come back and then you will continue to get additional funding to conduct research and other areas for public health intervention. So always work hard and get the qualification you intended to get. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sheila. We really appreciate the time you've spent with us, and to each and every one of our panelists, thank you so much for coming on. And to those who are ambushed and forcefully volunteered, we appreciate you. Thank you for taking time to be here. To everyone who has been working so hard in the question and answer box to try and get to as many questions as we can before we close, thank you for your effort. We appreciate your hard work. And now we are going to hand over to Alan and Diana, who will tell us the next steps. There's so many questions about, shall we have a WhatsApp group, or is there going to be another webinar or a series of this, since the deadline is actually not that far, so the webinar would have to be quite close. But yes, let's hear from Diana and Alan Brand. Thank you everyone for letting me spend Independence Day working through how we can support you to put your best foot forward for the Chevening Scholarship. We wish you the best, and we look forward to seeing you as an alumni.
Thank you so much, Olivia. That was really beautiful. Without wasting any more time, can we please hear from Alan for the closing remarks and a few comments on the WhatsApp group or another webinar? Alan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana, for organizing this webinar. If it were possible, I would ask the participants and all the panelists to just give a virtual hand clap to Diana, because she basically put all this together, Diana Nakawesa. So Diana, from me, thank you. Thank you so much for putting this together. Thank you as well, the panelists, all of you. We are grateful for giving back, really. I know we would sort of say it's expected of you, but it also takes a bit of generosity and also really the heart to want to give back after all these years. Some of you are in places we cannot even, the Bible says we cannot what? Tie your shoelaces. So thank you so much for sparing your time and your wisdom, really, to share with the prospective scholars. Olivia, thank you. For some of you may not know, Olivia is not even in the country, but wherever she is, I think she should be. Olivia, isn't it like 2 a.m. where you are? But
No. It's just a polite 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so Olivia is in a different time zone, but she has given up her time. And Olivia, thank you for the great session that you have had and for deliberating this session. Thank you so much. So for the Chevening executive, some of you are here, Billy, Nicholas, Jericho, and the rest of you. Thank you as well for sparing time to be here, but also for having an input in this. Jericho and Billy, and I think Nicholas as well. Thank you for also helping to answer some of the questions in the Q&A. So basically mine is really a vote of thanks. For the attendees that have been on the call, thank you for attending this. We conduct this once a year. Some of you have been asking how many times we conduct this. We conduct a session like this once a year. So if you visit our YouTube channel, you'll even find some from previous years, some of these sessions from previous years. They can support as well. If you're looking for other resources to help support you in this period, you can visit one of our Chevening scholars. One of our Chevening alumnus is called Edigold Musimenta, Faith. She has a YouTube channel that supports people who are applying for scholarships like Chevenings. I think she has different ones. They are Commonwealth as well. But specifically, look out for her YouTube channel. She uses, I think, her name, Faith Edigold, and you'll be able to get some more resources. But also, like Olivia said, you can just type into Google or into YouTube tips on Chevening. I think Facebook also has a group where you can support each other for those who are applying. So there are different resources. If you're using the internet, there's no way you can fail to get the kind of support you need. But for us, we do this specifically for the Ugandan scholars because sometimes there are things that are perhaps specific. I think I've been trying to answer some of the questions, and one of the questions that has been coming up is 3.6 equivalent to 4.0? If it's a Ugandan university, a private university, is it different from a public university? So all that kind of stuff, sometimes you would pick it up from having webinars like this. So we, as the leadership, we do this once a year. And this is our webinar for this year to support scholars, potential scholars who could eventually become part of the Chevening Alumni Association. At the start of this webinar, my colleague Nicholas, the vice chairperson, told you a lot about the scholarship. Briefly, for me, I'll tell you about the Alumni Association. So once you apply and you have done gone through the application process, being invited for interviews, you manage to convince the panel and make it into the year's collection of scholars, and you manage to get to the UK and complete your course. When you return as an alumnus, the Chevening Alumni Association is an extension of the scholarship of sorts, because we say that you are a scholar for a year, but a Chevener for life. So we host you back into the country. We support you, whether it's in, acclimatizing, reverse culture shock, sometimes even jobs where we see them, mentoring. So we support you that way. But also as an association, we mobilize ourselves as alumni to be able to do different projects where your energies can be focused, whether it's in your field of study. For example, where we have doctors, if you want to do research, if you want a group that can support you in a certain direction, career-wise or growth, we are using this association as a place to champion mentoring, to champion support, to champion leadership, and some of the causes that each of you is about, that drive your own passions and intentions. So that's what the association does. So perhaps some of you have seen some of our projects around climate change. Some of them are around education, refugee support. So that's the idea, that when you come back, you are not on your own. we support you to then be able to achieve your goals that you set out in those essays. So I want to thank you, and I want to wish you the very best in your applications. I hope that you put your best foot forward. I have had some of you ask, but am I eligible? I like what Billy talked about, which is that imposter syndrome. None of us can say we are good enough. So if you feel like you can write essays, those 4 essays, go ahead and write them. Don't fear, because this is a transparent scholarship. You should be able to get it if you put your very best foot forward. So thank you so much for attending. I wish you the best as you apply. About the WhatsApp group, it is a suggestion, so we may need to think about it. But if you are applying, I've mentioned that send us an email if you want us to review your essays, Chevening Alumni UG@gmail.com. We shall distribute it to the members in your field. If you are in IT, we shall perhaps get you someone in IT. If you are in medicine and public health, we shall perhaps get you the doctors, and engineers the same. So send it to us. We shall see how we can support you. Lastly, I want to say that the scholarship is transparent. So if you have any doubts whether you have to speak to so-and-so, you do not have to speak to anyone. Apply for the scholarship, and if you are the very best, you will get the scholarship. Thank you very much. Back to you, Diana.
Thank you so much, Alan, for your remarks. A huge thank you to our panelists, moderator, Ms. Olivia Naluwama. You've done us the best. Tina, thank you so much. The executive team, the IT personnel, and of course, the special thanks to all of you, our aspiring Cheveners. Thank you for showing interest in Chevening Scholarship. We truly believe this is one of the best choices you can make for your future. I hope all your questions and concerns have been addressed, and that you now have the tools you need to write a winning Chevening application. We are thrilled to have you with us, and this is just the beginning. We are here to support you throughout your journey to study in the UK. Please feel free to reach out to any of us for further clarification, details, and any other support. Don't forget to join our communities on social media for continued support, as you have all been told. You can find us on our website, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And Billy has shared all the links, so please do the needful. Well, we are so sorry that we have passed our time. I think, yeah, but it was worth it, because we really needed to get all those answers for all our questions. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in. So we wish you all the best in your Chevening application. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Independence Day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Happy Independence.
Everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Diana.
Bye-bye. Thank you.